Well, Zoro defeated a ton of Baroque Works agents in the last volume, so let's see if he can beat the rest today. But before we do, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a friend, and make sure to join the Discord down below. And with all that being said, let's jump into One Piece Volume 13, It's Alright, featuring chapters 109 to 117. Part 1, Princess Vivie. This will cover chapters 109 to 112. As I said at the very start of the episode, we pick right up where we left off, as Zoro faces off against Mr. 9, Mr. 8, and Miss Wednesday. And just like last time, he absolutely dominates them with little to no effort. This is when Oda decides to drop a major bombshell on us, with the arrival of Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine, who reveal that Baroque Works has been infiltrated by spies, namely the Princess of Alabasta Kingdom, Princess Nefertari, Vivi. I want to quickly say that I made a mistake last episode, as Igaram's name was not revealed to be Igaram until this chapter. This is just an oversight on my part, and it is the first time that watching the anime before reading made me add something to the story that I shouldn't have, and for that, I sincerely apologize. But I bring up Igaram here for an important reason. He is easily disposed of by Mr. 5, leaving him on the ground and begging for Zoro to help Princess Vivie. And while Zoro does not agree to his request, Nami does. Outside of Nami showing off her inherent ability to make money, I think the thing that stands out to me most in this section of the volume is how Mr. 9 and Miss Monday stand up for Vivie. Even though they have no clue what is going on, and with the threat of Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine chasing after them. Their loyalty is even more impressive considering both of the agents have devil fruit abilities. Mr. 5 being the user of the Boom Boom fruit, and Miss Valentine who has the Kilo Kilo fruit. And after both Mr. 9 and Miss Monday fall, leaving Vivie with seemingly zero people to protect her, Zoro steps in to protect her as the biggest threat arrives. Now, before we talk about this new threat, I want to mention that Igaram explains that Baroque Works lists their agents in order of strength. What I mean by this is, the smaller the number of the Baroque Works agents, the more powerful the officer is, and the leader at the top, the most powerful, is Mr. Zero. I will say this now, but Oda does a great job making aspects of a story like this simple and easy to follow, which is extremely helpful and beneficial to readers. As much as I love Marvel, don't ask anybody to explain the lore of the Inhumans, for example, because I seriously doubt there is a soul out there who can explain every single nuance of their character and origin. I bring this up as an example of an issue that plagues a lot of stories, but I don't anticipate this being a recurring issue in One Piece. Now, despite me previously praising Oda, I am about to be negative, and that's because the big threat that I previously referred to is revealed to be Luffy. So, Luffy and Zoro get into a fight with each other in a moment that seemingly breaks character for Luffy. Luffy's been somebody in this story who, by his very nature, trusts his friends in every situation. This is a trait that was passed on to him by Shanks and was on full display during the Arlong Park arc. But here, Luffy is upset at Zoro for attacking the people who fed the crew and refuses to listen to Zoro's pleas for Luffy to listen. I find this to be a great departure from Luffy as a character, and as a result, this is my least favorite part of the story so far. I've praised Oda fairly non-stop in every single episode, but this scene just feels out of place, and honestly more like a hypothetical fan-made scenario than anything else. Regardless, it's canon to the One Piece story. We are shown a full display of power by the two absolutely trashing Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine without actually facing them head-on. And as the two powerhouses prepare for a final attack on each other, an unlikely character intervenes. Part 2, Miss All Sunday. This will cover chapters 113 to 114. So you might have been expecting Sanji or somebody else to stop the fight, but no. Nami punches both Luffy and Zoro, which ends the fight. Power scalers, eat your heart out. This is when Nami, Luffy, and Zoro sit down to talk with Vivie about what has happened to her kingdom and the secrets of Baroque Works. Vivie reveals that Baroque Works is an organization who is seeking to create a utopia, and the agents of Baroque Works will be given favorable positions after this utopia is achieved. But in reality, Baroque Works is really pushing for the dismantling of Alabasta, and now that Vivie has uncovered who is behind this and what their true intentions are, she has to get back to protect her kingdom. Oh, and all of this is going down, Vivie accidentally reveals the identity of the leader of Baroque Works, Sir Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. This reveal not only places a target on the heads of Luffy, Nami, and Zoro, which we find out thanks to the Unlucky showing us a drawing of the crew, but it also sets what the end goal of the arc is going to be: defeating a member of the warlords of the sea. And if Zoro's confrontation with Mihawk was any indication, this isn't going to be an easy feat. But in spite of this, Luffy and Zoro are excited by the prospect of fighting a warlord, but this quickly changes as we see Igaram's ship explode as he attempts to head back to Alabasta. So yeah, Igaram dressed up in an extremely convincing disguise as Vivie, and his ship was destroyed in the process. I think the best part of the scene here is Nami hugging Vivie, keeping her from looking and telling her that everything is going to be okay. Calling back to Nojiko holding Nami in her arms when Bellamere was killed, and reminds us that while Nami did initially take the job of protecting Vivie for a cash reward, she knows the pain that Vivie is going through and will stop at nothing to help Vivie return to her kingdom and avoid the emotional hardship that will come if she loses everything she cares for. And as the remainder of the crew board the Going Merry with the new additions of Vivie and Karu, we come face to face with the one responsible for the death of Igaram, Miss All Sunday. Now, not much is known about Miss All Sunday, but she attempts to give us an eternal log post to Alabasta, which is a pose that will only lead you to a single destination. She reveals that she has a devil fruit ability, and warns us about the next island known as Little Garden. Oh, and she has a costume that many One Piece fans think is the best costume of the series. I'm not going to comment on that one. But Luffy comments on the eternal log pose, smashing it, and telling Miss All Sunday that nobody will tell him or his crew where they will be sailing. This is when Miss All Sunday leaves the Merry, saying she wasn't directed to kill the crew, and makes her way back to Alabasta, while the crew makes their way to the island known as Little Garden. Part 3, Little Garden. This will cover chapters 115 to 117. The end of the volume sees the crew arrive at Little Garden, an island whose name is inaccurate, as the inhabitants of Little Garden are anything but small. Little Garden is revealed to be a prehistoric island that did not evolve like the rest of the world, so creatures such as dinosaurs are still alive and well on the island. I know I was pretty harsh on Oda earlier with my comments about Luffy versus Zoro, so here's my attempt to make things right by pointing out how creative this man is when it comes to settings in his story. This setting is further explored by splitting up the group and having them go separate ways. Luffy, Vivie, and Karu go to explore the island, Zoro and Sanji decide to hunt for food on the island, while Nami and Usopp remain on the ship. But despite one initially thinking that the ship would be a safe location, it is anything but, as both Nami and Usopp are greeted by the smiling face of the giant known as Bragi. This is actually when the story highlights a character who has not gotten the spotlight in a bit: Usopp. Usopp has told stories of a place called Elbaf, the home of the giants, and the location where Bragi and Dory, a giant who encountered Luffy and Vivie, formerly called home. Bragi invites Usopp and Nami over for a meal after asking if they had any ale on the ship, and tells the duo stories about Elbaf, in hopes of becoming a brave warrior of the sea. This desire is solidified further when Usopp watches the two giants clash, refusing to cower as they go against each other, and he is inspired by this fight. And his dream of becoming a brave warrior of the sea is only heightened by watching these giants fight. I think it's nice to see Usopp be given some spotlight here, and also given a goal that we as an audience can look forward to watching him achieve, as Usopp's dream is now directly linked to him visiting Elbaf. And as the volume ends, we watch as the ale given to Dory from Bragi explodes, injuring Dory, which he blames on the Straw Hats, meaning that as Luffy and Dory prepare to spar, we are reminded of two characters who were introduced at the very start of the final chapter: Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week. That does it for today's episode. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a friend, and join the Discord down below. And look forward to Volume 14 releasing on Friday. This has been JT, and I hope you all have a fantastic week.